I'm Whitney Bonds, and you're watching Influencing Entrepreneurs.
After years of teaching entrepreneurship and consulting business owners, I realized that true knowledge comes from the wins and losses of those entrepreneurs. These are the stories of those business leaders. I'm Casimir Ward, and this is Influencing Entrepreneurs. So our guest today is Whitney Bonds, and I really thank you for being here today. I've seen your online presence. I've kind of seen, how you've built your career up. And to be honest, I got a million different questions for you. But really where I think I need to just start is, where did your entrepreneurial journey begin?
Yeah, great question. Because I used the words, I will never become an entrepreneur because it's too much work. Who wants that? I want a steady paycheck and just, do the 9 to 5 thing. But the only reason I even thought about entrepreneurship is when I got pregnant with my second child and I didn't want to do daycare. So my mother-in-law, my aunt was keeping my son who was 1 year old at the time. So, but they were not going to take on another kid. So when I got pregnant the second time, I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I want at least family being around raising my kids if it's not me. And so since I didn't have another option, I was like, my job is not going to allow me the flexibility I need to be able to stay home. So long story short, I knew I couldn't stay in my job and continue to be a stay-at-home mom that I wanted to now be. The whole idea of climbing the corporate ladder just went away. And
And
so
what was that corporate ladder at the time?
oh,
Was it in healthcare, banking?
yeah, it was in marketing. I was a marketing manager for a large manufacturer. I loved marketing. I just love the idea of just trying to understand how people do the things that they do and then you being able to get results with marketing. But it just didn't translate to a work from home job that was flexible enough to raise my kids. So I was a complete newbie when it came to how in the world are people making money from home. I had no idea. So the first thing I did was I went to Google. But I did see that these bloggers, those two guys, and they were making $100,000 a month. And I'm
Okay,
like,
I'm going to stop you right there. I see these every day. And I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And then I reach out and I start going down this rabbit hole where I'm like, oh, they just want $500 from me or 1,000. Did you go down that rabbit hole?
no, because it was an article on their story.
Okay.
So I read the article about how these bloggers are making $100,000 a month. And I'm like, I only need $2,000 a month. So if I could just get a fraction of what they're earning, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So I just read their story. And by the time I got done with it, it made sense. But then my problem was, okay, but what do you blog about, Whitney? So I was still stuck. So I put that on the shelf. I said,
Mhm.
that's a good idea, but I don't know. So I just kept moving on, kept getting stressed out because I'm,
And like of course $100,000 a month will click with any of us.
all right.
But what did click? What that's what we want. But what clicked where you were like, I can do these 1 steps or 3 steps or 5 steps that you were like, I see a path to my $2,000.
Well, honestly, nothing clicked at that point. And this is why it's just good to be active and looking. You don't know what you don't know. I would have never known that anybody could make money blogging. I didn't know anyone personally. So how could I know that that worked until I exposed myself to something else that I didn't know? I was just a normal girl just trying to live this life and make money and just be home, like do the standard 9 to 5 thing. But then started like praying about my situation because I'm like, Lord, I need help. I was just trying to go to Google for everything. They didn't have the answers. I'm like, Lord, you have to have the answer because I'm at my wit's end. I do not want to be able to stay at my job anymore. I want to stay home and raise my kids. But then I was 4 months pregnant and I woke up with the idea to start a blog for moms like me, looking for legitimate ways for moms who are actually doing it today. And so my problem birthed my solution. I was trying to find out, who are these moms that are making money from home? And that's why I say, don't worry about the how. God gives you something.
Yeah.
Because I'll literally in a Facebook group and just scrolling, I'm just like trying
And
to,
you were doing this regardless. Like you just happened to be in a Facebook group.
regardless.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a Facebook group called Boss Moms. This podcaster put in, I want to do a podcast about successful stay-at-home moms. Let me know if you are one. Let me know what you do and let me know your email address. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, all my content is right here. So what I did is I just reached out to those moms with the idea. And I just said, I have this idea. I want to create a website for moms like me who are looking for legitimate ways from actual moms who are doing it. Can I interview you and you share your story, how you do it?
What was the ideal candidate you were looking for that could help you get there?
I was looking for ways that were duplicatable, if that's even a word. Could someone else do that? Is this just some unique story that is you were able to make money from, or is this something that someone else could do? And I was not looking for just things that I could do. I was like, well, I don't want to do this, but I know other people will want to do this. Like
Now,
book.
did you hear like some like cringeworthy things like you can
No.
sell Amway or you can sell?
No, it was a mom's group. So,
Uh,
it was just things that moms were actually doing that
okay.
they were, and I didn't choose all of them, but the ones that I saw that I thought that other people could do, I reached out to them and they all said yes. And they all even told me how much they made. They don't know me. So that's why I'm like, the power of asking is so strong. Like I've learned now that I know what I know, I'm so free in sharing what I know because I didn't know it before and I know it can help other people. So now that I'm like, okay, I actually have content. I literally just create a Google Doc and I asked them questions and they filled it out and I asked them to be very detailed in their responses. They did that and I literally just created a website sharing their stories about how they make money from home. And I called it Tried and True Mom Jobs. And I followed the exact same blueprint as those bloggers making $100,000 a month. And that's when I got started my whole entrepreneurship journey. So I launched my blog January 31st, 2018, and crickets. I have a marketing background, but I forgot I had to market my website to get people to come. And then I said, okay, now I did it. I've created it. Now I have to work to get people to come to it. So I'll go back to those bloggers making $100,000 a month. So I'm just studying them. How do they make money? And they were using Pinterest and Google at the time. I had no idea how to use neither of these things to get traffic, but I figured it out. I started with one at a time. But I love this was I bootstrapped it because I didn't have a lot of money. Even though I was working 9 to 5, I was making like 50,000 a year. Yeah, that's not too much when you're still you gotta pay the rent and all that stuff. So I didn't have a lot of just disposable income to put on this thing. So I was on Pinterest, their platform, and I would create pins in Canva and I would post them to Pinterest. I create curiosity for them to make them want to click. And when they click, it takes them to my blog article. So it would be like how to make money from home as a stay-at-home mom. It's things people want to know, but they click so they can read more.
Okay.
So that's how I was getting traffic to my blog is because of Pinterest. So I was taking
So your
advantage of.
first audience is Pinterest. Like, did you know ahead of time that Pinterest was the fastest way, or you just happened, or did it just happen
Yes, I
upon you?
did know because I'm in the Facebook groups about blogging and I'm learning from other people who are doing this. So I learned Pinterest and then started doing well. I made my first $500 in April of 2018 when I launched my blog and I couldn't believe it. And if this really works, I can really quit my job because I still needed that proof that this could work. And that was all the proof I needed. I'm like $500.
Yeah.
And so the way I made that money is because one of the moms I interviewed, she took a bookkeeping course to learn how to become a bookkeeper. So then I reached out to the course that she took and I told them, can I be an affiliate of yours? I have a blog and I want to promote your course. So people read that article. They learned how the mom became a bookkeeper, making money, and they want to do that, have the exact same experience as her. So if they take that course, I earn a commission. People started taking that course more and more because I was getting my pins out. And the mom that I interviewed, she was a mom of 9. And so the idea of like, if a mom of 9 can do this, I know
Yeah.
I can probably do it. So it gave you that idea that I can do this to make money from home, at least on the side. And then you're going to take the course and I get to earn. So I'm the middleman now. I'm the resource for helping people find out how to make money from home. And if it's through a course or a service, I become an affiliate of that. Now I'm like, oh, wow, this is how this works.
Is this at a point that when you go to your blog, is it a written blog or are you actually doing video at this point?
It's written. I was
Okay.
not going to be on camera because I even changed my name because I didn't want my job to know what I was doing. So yeah, so that's how I got my first $500 and it was through Pinterest. And that went really good for a good year, I would say. So my first year blogging, I only made $5,000. And the very next year, I made $200,000.
Oh my
And that
gosh.
was because, so one thing I learned about Pinterest was that I loved it because I was getting traffic really fast. 2018 was a great year to be on Pinterest. But at the end of 2019, they changed their algorithm and I could not recover back. But then it would go up and down. You had something go viral, but then it would die. And then I had to try and hope for it to go viral again.
What were some of the things that made it go viral?
The titles. I figured out like saying things like 19 ways to make money from home. Number 4 is my favorite, or no one's talking about number 4, or it is creating that curiosity. So they're
Yeah.
like, well, what's number 4? Let me click
Yeah.
to see what this is.
A little clickbaity, but I mean, listen, I click. Yeah.
Yeah, it's clickbaity, but I also want to deliver. Like most people didn't hear about number 4, so that's like, oh, that's that one. So I always try and find things that a lot of people aren't talking about, or just saying it in a way to get them to click. So there is some clickbait stuff out there that I can't stand. So that's
Right.
why I always stay away from clickbait.
But even the wording, like I've struggled with this, like how we word stuff. You've got to create it, and I was even like, that sounds clickbaity. I just want to give them information. They're like, yeah, but you got to make them want the information, and then I feel the information's good. So, real quick, so I do understand what you're saying with the clickbait. I do want to ask this just because I don't want to gloss over it. I made $5,000, and then I made 250,000. Even though that was over the course of the year, I want know a little bit more along that ride. Like, was it 1 month was 1,000, 2,000? And I want to know, like, when are you strutting your stuff? Like, hey man, I'm a badass.
Okay, so now first, I mean, $5,000 is nothing to be gloating about. So I was just like, I was not distracted trying to find other things out. I was all in on blogging, and that's why I think I had a lot of success with it. I also knew I had to pivot. I could not just stay on Pinterest. Can't have a business running on hoping something goes viral.
Right.
So I had to find out what SEO was. I did not want to learn this at all. It was completely Greek to me. Like, what is SEO? But since I knew I had to learn it, I learned it. And I was trying to figure this out, but I was stuck on something. Like it was a missing piece of the puzzle. So I did get a coaching call with this as SEO expert or consultant. And it was $75. And to me, that was such a huge investment. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm paying $75 just for a phone call. But that changed everything. I was like, okay, that's the missing piece of the puzzle. Long story short, I implemented what I was told for SEO in June. After that, I went back to my other articles and started implementing what I knew because with SEO, it takes time. So I was taking advantage of putting all this stuff together, and I was writing an article every single week. I was dedicated. 1 week, I will write one value-packed research article. And that's all it took. That's what those bloggers are doing. So that's what I did. And so the way I started making more money is in January, the articles that I was writing in June and July and August, they started gaining traction on Google. So for example, work from home jobs is an article I wrote. If you search for work from home jobs, you will find my article. It was the first article that was showing up. And in January, that's such a high time that people have new goals. They want to renew their life. They're trying to figure out different things, work from home. So many people go to Google for searching for things like that. So January was probably my biggest year where I made like $32,000. And I was like, oh my gosh.
What I want to differentiate, though, is there are so many people that do see these things. You've clearly stated there's a path and demonstrated there's a path to get there, but they're like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go be a blogger. And it's like, well, can you last 18 months to 2 years with nothing in there? Like, yeah.
Exactly. That's why I always like to say, like, don't just do what I did. I was saving all my checks just in case if I did go back to my job. We did have a little nest egg to live off of if we had to pull from our savings because I was intentional about we're gonna live on one income. We started early by really cutting down expenses and just like saving all my checks just so we would have some money on the side if we had to pull from there. And it was getting tight because I only made $5,000 the entire year from my blog. That's not enough to sustain us. But I also didn't quit my job until June because blogging is a long game. It took me to put in the work to receive the benefits basically. And because of all that traffic coming to my blog, I was making money through ads. I had ads on my blog. And I went to this company called Mediavine. They're the ones who have the ads on your blog, and they're the middleman between all the big brands out there. So
And is it a heavy upfront investment to do something like that?
it's free, but it is a revenue share from them. Depending on how you start out, they haven't changed now, but It's free to get into, but you have to have traffic to apply to get into that program. Google AdSense is, you can just start a website and have Google Ads on your site. Mediavine, I think you had to have 50,000 page views within 30 days to apply. And so when my traffic started getting up there, I applied immediately because it's like I'm making money from just people reading my articles.
Yeah.
So I was making like $50,000 in just ad revenue. So I was doing really well with just ads alone. Like I was making the amount I made for my corporate job doing nothing. I did the articles, they're done, and I'm still making money from them. It was literally the best stay-at-home mom job I've ever
Yeah.
asked for.
I'm assuming during COVID, there's no major impact.
No, actually, it was even better because, people are really looking for ways to make money from home. So
Okay.
I was like in the perfect like niche for that time to do well. Like my business was unaffected. Even
Yeah.
though my ad revenue went down, my affiliate income went up. So I was unaffected as far as my income.
So as you start building this up and feel free to only answer to what you're comfortable with, but where does this end up? What does 2024 look like? Where do you end up after now you've got several years under you? Are you an empire? Are you like trying to figure out the next thing?
2019, Pinterest changed their algorithm. I lose all my traffic. So now I only dependent on Google. So 2019, COVID happens in 2020. And I'm like, I have to get another traffic source to my blog because I'm like, now that Pinterest is gone, what if something happens with Google? I have nothing. And I'm like, I gotta go right back to my job. So what I had to do was figure out what's another source of traffic that I can get to my blog. Now I interviewed this guy. His name was Nate O'Brien. And he changed the game for me because I asked him how much does he make, and he said in just the month of January from ads he made $30,000. And I was terrified of being in front of the camera. But when he
Uh,
said that, I'm like, "Where's my camera?" Because
yeah.
I want to get over my fears of being in front of the camera because I knew that I was in a very unsettling place. That if Google could change their algorithm like that, and I'd have nothing, it would have been great if I'm doubling up on these from all this money from my blog and then all this money now from YouTube. But no, it went down from now I just have YouTube. This happened in like maybe like 2 years ago, the Google
Mhm.
algorithm change. So now, thank God, when before Google changed, I started my YouTube channel at the perfect time because I was still making money from Google, and so I wasn't making money from YouTube yet because I had just started, but I was learning a way and I was doing a video every single week. They say do a video a week, I do a video a week. I'm starting now making money on YouTube, and then Google changed their algorithm, and I lose everything there that I was making for my blog. And so I took the same like affiliate programs, the same things I was doing on my blog, and I took them to YouTube. YouTube is very similar to Google. They're both search engines. They have questions and I can answer them. I'm going to promote a product or service if I can to help answer your question. And I started making more on YouTube because they live a lot longer. My videos live longer on YouTube than they do on Google. Now I'm making like $300,000 a year from YouTube. And
Just YouTube, nothing else.
yeah, that's it. And because now that's like my main income source. So now always I'm really hard on myself. I'm like, why am I not doing more? But then I can't forget I have 3 little kids, but I'm doing this really part-time. I'm like, if I could do this full-time, I would be a beast. Like I'm not even scratching the surface at this thing. But now that my kids are about to go to school, so I'm gonna have more time to dedicate to this. So I'm like, if I just put a little more effort into it, I could be doing even better. But yeah, so that's where I am now is I'm doing YouTube. Now
So how long does a normal video take?
okay, so for example, on Monday, I'll find out what I'm going to talk about. So I do my research to find out what I'm talking about. Along the way, I'm always just on YouTube staying trying to look for ideas. So I have a whole like database of things I could do. So Monday, I pull from that database and I say, okay, let me figure out what's going to be my title and what's going to be my thumbnail. And then I do my research on what I could feel like is going to be a good title. Because if they don't watch your video from your title or your thumbnail, everything else that I've done is just wasted time. If I don't put the time in or effort to figure what's going to make them want to click, I'm wasting my time with everything else. So I really put my emphasis on that. The next day, I'm working on my script. I'm working on doing research, looking at other YouTube videos, Googling, looking at Reddit, whatever my topic is. I'm trying to find good information that people have not heard before. And then I literally write my script word for word. I use a Google Doc and I'm literally reading from my teleprompter. Here's my teleprompter right here. And I put my phone right here and I literally it scrolls and I just read. So that's how I literally just record a video in 30 minutes because I'm just reading it and I'm using my hand gestures, trying to make it engaging, and I'm done for the week. And that's my schedule.
You know, I could go on for hours about the difference of how we talk different than we write and how it translates into our online presence. Like I've learned the lesson the hard way. And it's funny, I thought I was a great reader or writer, but everything I've done there doesn't do well. And when we used outside people that wrote in my voice, it was like, wow, that's just amazing. You know, like people interact with that more. Well, what's the one you did that you were like, this is the home run and it didn't go anywhere?
Good question. I did one where I interviewed this woman. She makes the cupcakes and she has an amazing story. She went from her last $5 and went all the way to $10 million. So I saw her interview on other people's channels and it was like millions of views for that video. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta interview her so I can probably get a nice amount of views too. So I interview her, great interview. And I'm like, I got a good thumbnail. I had a good title and crickets. Like no one watched that video. I'm like, why didn't this do well? I had a good intro. I had a good title, a good thumbnail, and two things I think happened. In the thumbnail, I didn't include my face. It was just her face. And I think maybe my audience would have been like, well, whose channel is this? That could have been a reason. Or they've already seen her story. They could be like, oh, I already saw it. I don't need to watch it again about her success. I already know
Right.
that she's what she does. So I'm like, that taught me a big lesson. Like, don't go off of everything that you are seeing that is out there and trying to duplicate it, the same person's story. Try something that maybe other people have not heard of before and then share their story. Because me trying to take advantage of this woman's story from somebody else's channel does not work in my favor at the YouTube course. And the people in my course, I was telling them about this and they was like, yeah, I actually saw her story before too. And I was like, you know what? That's probably why it didn't do too well.
Yeah.
So that was one that I thought was going to do so well and it did not. It's one of my lowest performing videos.
Okay, excellent. So here's what I'm going to share with you where I struggle, and I want to get to that level, and I want to ask you your experience. Uh, I would like to build an audience to one day I have at least one hater. And I'm sure with the audience you've gotten, you've heard from haters across the time.
Yeah.
Tell me about that first one and what it does to you, and then maybe kind of the ones that build up after that.
Yeah, so I naturally talk fast. I don't know if I'm talking too fast now, but I'm trying to do a little better. In my earlier days, I would get so many people saying, you talk way too fast. I can't even keep up with you. And then so I would get a lot of comments about how I talk too fast. I didn't take that as a negative. To me, that was like, Whitney, slow down. Like they're telling you for a reason. Some people didn't believe some of the stuff I would talk about, like as far as ways to make money, and they would say like things like that's not true, or she's just a scam or something like that. So but when I see those things, I delete them. I know some people will
Okay.
keep them on, but if I see them, I delete them. Like I don't want someone else to read that and say like, oh yeah, she is. So I'll
Right.
delete them, or sometimes depending on what they say, I'll leave it there and I'll let my subscribers fight for me. I've seen it
Oh,
before.
that's got to be 10 times more powerful.
Yeah, I like it,
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm like, oh, I got some real people on my side.
So as you've built all these audiences and you've cracked all these codes for Pinterest to YouTube to Google and everything in between, I've got to imagine like it feels like you're pulling levers, and when this one's out of juice, you move to the next. As an accountant, that kind of gives me fear, like when do you run out of levers? Like how do you deal with that?
As an entrepreneur too, I just have to always keep my eyes and ears open to what's going on. And my biggest thing, the way I learn is I learn from other people. I learn from the greats. Like I love hearing feedback and I'm like a student. So what is Alex Hormozy doing? He's got more money than I could dream of right now. So I'm just thinking like, okay, he's got the manpower to be researching all these tools. And from him hearing that YouTube is the most profitable one, I'm looking for what he's doing and what direction he's going in. So that's how I kind of know that right now, after talking to so many people, YouTube is not going anywhere. This is the way and the best way to make money and get people to even get into your world. There's no other platform. The longer they watch your videos, the more the trust that you can build with people. And you can only do that with YouTube long form videos, not these little 5-second shorts. No, there's got to be Daniel Priestley is another one that I really enjoy learning from him. And he says like you need at least 7 hours of content. People consume 7 hours of content before they regularly purchase from someone. So I just think that YouTube is the way to go right now. That's the only platform I'm going all in on right now. It's just because of for the sake of it's just the best one, and I'm watching what the other people are that are doing better than me. I'm watching what they're doing, and that's what they're doing right now.
Do you feel there's any platforms or any apps that have come out over time that you missed the mark on or thought would be bigger, like, whether it's a Twitter or TikTok or even Blue Sky? And yeah.
Yeah, I missed out on TikTok for sure. I don't think it's too late to do well on TikTok, but I know when it was coming out, I had already told myself I am not about to start another platform. I'm 100% believer though of mastering one platform before you move to another one. So at the time when TikTok came out, I had not yet mastered YouTube or felt comfortable enough before I moved on. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do dancing videos and I didn't want to do like quick short form content. Now I do feel like there's a place for those platforms, but I feel like right now, so I feel like my focus is so important to focus on what's going to actually move the needle. And YouTube is moving the needle a lot faster than any other platform can right now.
So, as we kind of bring this to the end, like I'll be honest, it's one of those things I told you very early on. I was like, I see content like yours. I don't want to believe it. And you working through the journey, I'm like, it makes sense. Again, as we probably talked earlier, like it's work. It's sitting down, doing the work, not just I did an Amazon review and got $300,000 in 1 year. But now and I appreciate your willingness to share the money aspect of it because that is very important. But my other question is to get better and more efficient and effective at it. You're also incurring expenses. What like I'm sure they're not just your time, but I'm sure you're paying SEO, you're paying for advertising. Like,
No, this is the best part.
okay,
So if I think about what I'm paying for, I'll tell you right now. The thing about YouTube is I bought the equipment. I'm done. There's nothing else I'm paying for when it comes to YouTube except my editor. I pay him $1,000 a month. And I don't know
right.
if that's on the high end or low end, but I do 4 videos a week. I mean 4 videos a month. So I send him a video. He knows me. I just send it to him. He does the ads. I very rarely ever have any edits from him or
Someone
like.
you knew prior, somebody local,
No,
or
he found me. I would
oh,
have my nephew doing my editing, and it was just, just very basic editing. But this guy found me. He did a reel for me and said he emailed me and said, I made this for you. And then it was a reel of a video that I had did. I'm like, oh wow, this is like really good. I said, hey, do you do thumbnails? And so he started out doing my thumbnails, and it was really good. And then he kept asking, can he get a chance to do edit one of my videos? I didn't want him to do it because I had my nephew doing it, and I was, happy to give him some money to edit my videos. I said, I'll give you a chance. And that video was so good. I told my nephew, I said, if you're not willing to learn how to edit videos like that, then I'm gonna have to go with someone else. He told me he wasn't willing to learn, so I'm like, okay. It made the decision a lot easier. So we've been working together now for like 3 something years, and we talk through WhatsApp.
excellent. That is exciting. I listen. Maybe one day somebody will say, "I saw this clip of you. I wanted to make one."
I
So
get people every day literally asking to edit my video. So, I mean, if you get some traction, you're going to get requests every day. It's just choosing the one you want to work with.
yeah. I'd like to ask, what is one of the lessons or the mistakes, but let's just say the lessons you learned the hard way along the way?
Yeah, I think one of the lessons I have a hard time. I know I talked a lot. I want to be everywhere, and I look at my competitors, and I think sometimes I get down on myself for not being further than where I am because I've done this for the last 7 years now, and I should be making like over $1 million a month at this point. But I'm just making like almost, I'm close to the $500,000 mark, but I should be happy with that. But I have to remind myself like constantly, it's a constant battle, like fighting my own little thoughts. So it's just
Right.
like you have to overcome these things and appreciate and think about what you are accomplishing. And you are your own competition. You cannot compare yourself to anyone. So the one thing that I had to learn is I cannot compare myself to anyone else. That gets me absolutely nowhere. Yes, look to other people for inspiration, but don't compare your story to someone else's. Like there was a guy making $1 million in a day. We started together. And I was like, oh, I'm just like not even where I need to be. But he is a single young man and he's able to do a lot more and have more time to do what I just can't. So my biggest lesson was learning not to compare myself to other people and, appreciate that what I'm actually getting done.
Excellent. Well, Whitney, I really appreciate you taking the time. Everything you said is it's a whole lot. We're going to share, of course, your YouTube page, all of your social media handles. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this.
No problem. So hopefully we'll see each other one day at a influencers conference of some sort. All right. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. To watch more episodes of Influencing Entrepreneurs, be sure to subscribe on YouTube at Nexagy Education.